It may help to think about an experience you may have had before. You have gone out with four of your friends to a restaurant and agreed that to simplify the matters, you will split the bills evenly. When the waiter asks if you want dessert, you look at the menu and see that you can purchase a hot fudge sundae for $4. You value the sundae at no more than $3, so if you were dining alone, you would skip dessert. But you do the math and realize that if you order the sundae, your share of the bill will only increase by $0.8. As a result, you order it. Not surprisingly, your friend makes a similar calculation for themselves, and you wind up paying an additional $4 each. A similar logic is at work in legislative processes. A member of the House of Representatives might, for example, be able to introduce an amendment to a bill that will bring $100 million in benefits to his or her district. The cost of the program to the federal government is $150 million, so clearly the costs outweigh the benefits. But the cost to the community is just a small fraction of this, since it will be supported by all taxpayers, not just those in the affected community. For the representative's constituency, this is a terrific deal. They get $100 million in benefits for a small fraction of this amount in increased taxes. Of course, the legislation has to get the support of a majority of the House members to be passed into law. Why would a legislator representing another district support legislation that will increase the cost to his constituencies without producing any benefits? The answer is that by supporting his or her colleague's pet project, the legislator can win support for his/her own pet project. The vote trading activity is commonly called log rolling, and much like the restaurant example above it, it accounts for a certain amount of wasteful government spending. Rent seeking. A related source of inefficiency arises because the gains from many government programs, while the costs are spread widely. An example of this problem is the current U.S. policy of price supports for domestic sugar producers. The support, combined with restrictions on the importation of cheaper sugar from outside the country, keeps U.S. sugar prices at nearly twice the world levels. A report in 2017 found that resulting losses to households are from $2.4 to $4 billion in total, spread across a population over 300 million. The cost per person is relatively small, but the benefits to the small number of sugar producers are much larger. Sugar growers have a strong and compelling motivation to hire lobbyists and spend money to influence key legislatures to continue the price supports. Most voters, however, are unaware of this policy, and even those who are aware of it will be unlikely to find it worth the effort to oppose it. Even when the overall benefits of projects exceed their cost, they may also generate wasteful resource allocation. Competition to influence the location of expensive federally supported activities can lead to the expenditure of large amounts of money seeking to influence decision makers. In general, societally unproductive activities that seek simply to direct economic benefits to one set of actors rather than another is called rent-seeking. A person illegally bribing a government official to get the favorable treatment when it comes to a regulation or policy that affect their own business is another example of rent-seeking. The payment of the bribe does not produce any output, while the favorable treatment primarily benefits the business owner. What is the proper role of the government? Determining what functions the government should play, how big it should be, and how much it should regulate are normative judgments that must be made on grounds that extend beyond purely economic considerations. Nonetheless, economics helps to illuminate the issues and frame these choices more clearly. Government is not essential to the establishment of a market economy, but the enforcement of the rule of law helps to support a much broader range of transactions than would be possible without it. Most of us are willing to accept the small loss of individual autonomy for the protection of property and the individual security that this entails. But unconstrained government can become an intrusive force that can substantially reduce individual freedoms. Similarly, Government can, as we noticed earlier, correct market failures arising because of externalities on public goods. However, the ability to recidify these problems also gives rise to inefficiencies. People may genuinely differ in their evaluation of the relative cost and benefit of these trade-offs. End of section 2.